Michael, I want to read
Most
you
likely.
something. This is from Trip Gabriel in the New York Times talking about what Republicans have been doing. Donald Trump did very well with blue-collar workers in the last election, but since then, Republicans have done very little to offer them anything, and Democrats are facing universal opposition from congressional Republicans to the package, which is chock full of measures to benefit struggling workers a full year into the coronavirus pandemic. Instead, Gabriel writes, Republican officials, following Mr. Trump's own example, are exploiting the cultural anger and racial resentment of a sizable segment of the white working class, but are making no concerted effort to help these Americans economically. So what do you make of that, Michael?
I think that's a very accurate description of what the play has been for at least the last two cycles. Certainly, we saw the early emergence of that in the 2018 cycle when it was playing to and I would say preying on the fears of folks having caravans of brown-skinned individuals coming across the border. This cycle, it was, letting white women in suburban America know, oh, they're coming to your neighborhood. Watch out. Be careful. I alone can protect you. So this cultural narrative, this playing on grievance, this playing on the fears, the racial fears that are not necessarily anchored in racism per se, but exploit that narrative to the degree that the Republicans have. And we see it now in places like Georgia and elsewhere with the legislation on the back end of the election with respect to voting rights is a carrying card. With the parties not putting out a counter agenda to what Joe Biden wants. All right, you don't want to spend $1.9 trillion, then lay out what it is you want to spend it on and how do you take care of those blue collar workers in your backyard who, by what the polls are showing, 59% of Republicans like, over 75% of Americans like. What is your counter proposal? But the narrative plays and works right now if I can prey on your fears. That's how I'll keep you anchored to my heel. But the reality, Katie, is simply this, and this is what the article points out. Those voters are going to be looking for results. They're going to be looking for solutions. And if the only solution on the table is, as we see in the example of the COVID plan, what Joe Biden is putting on the table, and they like that, guess where they go? And that's the challenge and the really gnarly point of 2022, given the narrative that we see playing out right now. And Trump is dictating that narrative for the GOP.
Michael, the point also is made in that article that Republicans know that this bill is going to pass. They expect to benefit from the bill passing and to only really feel any pain if they stopped the bill from passing. So I don't know. I'm pushing back on the idea that voters are going to be looking for results. Maybe they're looking for results. They'll see some results, but they won't necessarily reward the Democrats for it, considering that Donald Trump, and I know it's a mixed bag, but Donald Trump did gain voters in 2020.
Yeah, but you got to look at why he gained voters. I mean, everybody's just going off of this narrative. Oh, they gained all these voters. Well, let's understand why. You know what was driving that gain was the police narrative that the Democrats had an irresponsible answer for, along with some other variables that may have been closer to the ground. So I think you're right in the sense that, the party is going to try to ride this and take the credit, even though there is no effort in sort of reining the horse. But the reality of it is how the Democrats then on the other side of this speak about this. And right now, Joe Biden has the upper hand of the narrative. The polling is reflecting that. That's not going to benefit Republicans. That 70-some% is not going to just, okay, well, we'll give the Republicans credit for standing in the way.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.